So, Keon King, the suspect for the death of 23-year-old Kada Scott, was officially charged for unaliving her, but investigators have video evidence suggesting that multiple people may have been involved in moving and burying her body. However, this case seems to be taking a turn none of us saw coming. Now, people are saying that King Keon, the man everyone thought acted alone, might have actually been hired to do the job? Like, hold up, hired by who? Was Keon just the fall guy? Is there a bigger story behind this? Because it's giving setup, secrets, and somebody out there still walking free.
It has been confirmed that these are the human remains of Kada Scott, and that has been confirmed by DNA. I believe that's also been reported. There was some erroneous reporting that it was quick DNA. It was actually not quick DNA, it was the regular DNA.
As of last night, our office approved charges, as the DA just said, of arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, unauthorized use of an automobile, tampering with evidence, recklessly endangering another person, and receipt of stolen property. Those charges are in reference to the burning of a vehicle. That vehicle is a 2008 black Hyundai Accent.
Okay, just for a bit of background, Kada was last seen by her mother on October 4th when she was leaving for work at a nearby nursing home. But on that evening, Kada arrived at work but left prior to her shift's completion. The next day, when she didn't show up, she was reported missing, and the family told police that in the days leading up to her disappearance, she had told them and her friends that someone had been harassing her via phone. A coworker also told investigators that she appeared upset while talking on the phone, and the employee heard Kada Scott say, "I can't believe you're calling me about this," before she walked toward a dark-colored car in the parking lot. Based on reports, she was in communication with an individual called Keon King, and that she appeared to meet with him very shortly after she left work on October 4th. After the report, the police actually asked the public's help in locating King's vehicle, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry with a Pennsylvania license plate of MSX0797, which they believe Kada Scott may have been in, and later that day, police confirmed that King's vehicle was found in an apartment lot. They said they received 2 tips. The first led them to an elementary school where they said they recovered evidence of value, and the second that led them to the vehicle connected to Kada's disappearance. In addition, cell phone data suggested King was traveling with Kada Scott's phone that night before it was turned off, and investigators also reportedly interviewed 2 women who lived with King, and a search of their home allegedly uncovered multiple items, including ammunition, contractor bags, and gloves. But here's where it gets interesting. Something that has helped the case is text exchanges between King and Kada. First of all, King's phone called Kada 12 separate times throughout the day, and Kada recognized his nickname, Kel, indicating they knew each other well enough to coordinate a plan to meet that night. Around 10 p.m., a co-worker saw Kada outside her workplace on her phone, visibly upset and arguing, and the co-worker heard Kada say, "I can't believe you're calling me about this." Then, at 10:07 a.m. on October 4th, Kada sent a text message to King's number that read, "Kidnap me again." So, the context of this phrase remains unknown to investigators because they don't know if it was playful, code for something else, or literal, as they have no prior police reports of incidents between the two. At 10:09 p.m., Kada sent her final text message, CM, which investigators confirmed meant "call me." In addition, at 10:15 p.m., cell phone data placed Kada Scott's and Keon King's phones together near her workplace, and in the 9 minutes between 10:15 p.m. and 10:24 p.m., Kada was bang-banged in the head, and at 10:24 p.m., her phone went silent. Honey, that is when the cover-up began. See, King may have torched all the evidence, but he never put into consideration that there were cameras watching his every move, and based on court documents, there is surveillance footage showing King exiting a black stolen vehicle and walking away, and the following night, King reportedly returned to the rec center with other people in a gold-colored vehicle. The driver didn't get out, but 2 people exited the car and were then seen carrying a heavy object to the location where Kada Scott's remains were discovered on October 18th. On the day she died, at 10:28 p.m., just 4 minutes after Kada's phone went dark, surveillance cameras captured the stolen black Hyundai Accent entering the parking lot of the Aubrey Recreation Center, adjacent to the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School, and apparently the car remained there for over over 36 hours. Investigators also discovered that Keon King's phone traveled back and forth repeatedly between the parking lot and an address at 5500 Belmar Terrace in southwest Philadelphia. They also discovered that at 11:39 p.m. on October 5th, a gold Toyota Camry entered the parking lot and 2 people exited the vehicle, and the third person, the driver, drove away. The 2 individuals waited for 4 hours, and at 3:56 a.m. on October 6th, they approached the Hyundai, opened it, and lifted out a heavy object consistent with a human body, which they carried to a wooded area behind the abandoned school building, where they dug a shallow grave and buried her. Then, on October 7th, is when the black Hyundai Accent was found intentionally set on fire in an attempt to destroy forensic evidence. So far, we have 2 other people who were with Keon, and the 2 women who lived with him when he went back and forth from his house to the crime scene. But then there's another person who hasn't been mentioned by investigators, but online detectives are convinced she knows something. And that's Gabby, who did a video where she said her friend told her that she should go to the cops, but she never did. But surprisingly, after people started questioning her involvement with the case, she deleted the video and her TikTok account as well. However, the video was already making rounds, and if you ask a lot of people, they will tell you that she was lying.
So then we hung up the phone, and then I believe she called me again with the police on the other line. So you could see, I told her, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the cops, and yeah. Now, I can see how this could be cruel, and I do take accountability for that. So then, a couple of days later after that, I get sent a link on Instagram, and the link was basically my best friend going live, just talking about the situation, saying how I was weird for not going to the cops, and people in the comments were just coming up with their own narratives about the story, and it just got way out of hand, and it just spiraled. So you can see somebody sent me the link of the live, and still to this day, I have not watched the full entire live. Then people just started asking, who is Gabby? What's the connection? And, she told people that I was in Maryland for school, and it was just a whole entire thing. So, of course, I was angry and I was confused because what is going on? So I text her. I tell her that, that was weird. And yeah. Then I started seeing posts of people saying that they think that I set Kada up, and that why wouldn't I go to the cops, and that I was just suspicious and all of this stuff, and this was never the case.
Basically, what Gabby said was that she did not know Kada personally. She only knew Kada's younger sister, who had been her friend when they were growing up, though they grew apart when Gabby was around 11 or 12 years old. According to her, she and Kada had probably exchanged no more than 6 words throughout their entire lives, and were simply neighbors, not friends. Gabby went on to say that she and Keon were friends before everything happened, and she had no idea about his past behavior. She mentioned that before Kada went missing, Keon had called her to ask if she knew Kada because he'd noticed that Kada lived close to her. Gabby told him that she knew who Kada was, but not personally. She added that the call didn't seem unusual since Keon often called her to talk about girls, and that their entire conversation lasted only 29 seconds. She also explained that she didn't go to the police with this information because Keon had already turned himself in, and, in her opinion, there wasn't much to tell. It had been a brief 30-second call where he simply asked if she knew Kada. She further remarked that, where she was from, people didn't typically speak to the police, saying that's just the way she was raised. Now, when it comes to Gabby, what people are wondering is, why does she keep insisting there wasn't enough evidence to go to the police, when that short phone call already sounds so suspicious? I mean, doesn't it point to something premeditated? And if she really had no idea what was going on, why does it seem like she's trying so hard to distance herself now, especially after basically giving King all the info he might have needed? And let's not forget the contradictions. She said in the comments that her best friend made everything up, even though that same friend has apparently been telling her to go to the cops from day one. And then, when people started looking into her a little more, they realized that Homegirl has also been arrested before for harassment and related charges. So exactly, how involved was she with this case? Let's also not forget that King was arrested earlier this year in another case, but posted $200,000 bail and was released. In that case, King was accused of kidnapping a woman from in front of her house and forcing her into a car, and eventually let go. For this case, charges were dropped after the woman and a witness did not appear for court proceedings. But it just makes me wonder, are these things Keon and Gabby do together? But then, like I said, according to what's been circulating online, there's growing speculation that King Keon didn't act alone, and that he might have actually been paid or coerced to carry out the crime. But by who? That's the million-dollar question everyone's asking. If this was really a hired hit, then there's clearly someone higher up pulling the strings, someone who had a reason to want Kada gone. I mean, this could explain why Kada went with King, because she didn't anticipate that he would harm her. Honestly, there's still so much that doesn't make sense with this case, but hopefully we'll get to learn more soon. Meanwhile, let me know whether you believe this may have been a hit job in the comments section below.